Maya Angelou said, if you're going to live, leave a legacy. Make a mark on the world that can't be erased. I'm Martin. This is Donald and Curtis. We're native New Yorkers. Welcome to Season 3 of the Road to Legacy podcast.
Together, Martin and I have worked in hospitality for about almost 40 years. And we've been truly blessed to meet people from all walks of life. And in those conversations, it led us to question, what is legacy? What is the driving force that motivates people to do what it is that they do? That passion led us to create the Road to Legacy podcast.
And hey, I'm Curtis, the newest passenger on this Road to Legacy podcast, a student, lover of history, and I'm just super enthused, man, to be along for the ride with my brothers, discussing, debating life, politics, and race, and everything in between. Just hope you come and join us on this quest of seeking, learning, and above all, leaving a legacy. Grace and peace from the Road to Legacy.
What's up, what's up, what's up?
What's up, Doc? Welcome back, guys, to the Road to Legacy podcast, where we are always trying to inspire, influence, and educate people based on our conversations that we have every day. What up, man? What up?
So the Knicks lost last night.
I know the Knicks lost last night, man. It was a tough loss. It was a great game, like always, but there's a lot. It's loaded though. It's a very, very loaded gun. We're living in a loaded shotgun time.
Loaded shotgun time.
Yeah, shotgun time, because in the shotgun there's so many pellets that come out that casing, and so it's loaded. It's loaded, man. Let's you want to jump right into the conversation about last night's game. I mean, we both native New Yorkers, right? And right. I haven't been a Knicks fan for a really, really long time. And so it's good to see that the Knicks are doing well and they're in the NBA Finals. I'm happy for that. It's an exciting time in New York City. I know you're in Indianapolis, so it's a little bit different for you. It's maybe not as exciting as New York City.
Well, but I've never been a basketball fan, but at the same time, I remember back in the days with Ewing and then a couple of those other cats not following through all those years when it was on Channel 11 back in the day. But yeah, I'm not really a basketball fan. Never been, but at the same time, I'm happy that it's bringing the city together. Oh, we breaking up.
It's bringing the city together. Can you hear me? 1 2 1 2?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now, but I can't see. I don't know if you can you see me?
Yep, I can see you.
Okay, great. Yeah, it definitely it is bringing the city together. It's interesting to see that how many fans are Knick fans now. Is actually kind of strange. I remember as a kid, I used to be a big Knicks fan as a kid, and I'm sure you were too growing up.
Nope.
And feeling disappointed, but I don't remember seeing the fanfare that I'm seeing right now. Like, I'm talking about places are completely packed, jam-packed, so full that people are spilling out onto the streets, on the roofs. They showing the game in the park. I don't think it's ever been this big before.
No, well, it's never happened before. I mean, it's been, 20-something years, maybe 30 years since they went.
No, it's been way more than that. Right. I think it's been the last time the Knicks won a championship was Wilt Chamberlain. Is that right?
I think so. I think it was.
Yeah. I think that's the last time the Knicks won a championship.
Any other, big time franchise player that played. But as you look that up, the tickets were ridiculous, man. I just don't. I can't agree with that in this economy, and especially the guy who owns the Knicks, the guy who is the owner of the Knicks, Dolan. Everybody knows from the beginning he's the problem with why the Knicks can't win, and that's his team.
Yeah, so the last time the Knicks won was 1973. And I believe that was with Wilt Chamberlain. That was a long, long time ago. Let's talk about your guy Dolan. Besides him being very difficult as a owner of a team. Um, there's a lot of controversy behind this man. I mean, if you remember, he's the reason that Charles Oakley was kicked out of the Garden. And we talking about Charles Oakley, a New York Knickerbocker. You know what I'm saying? This is back in the days that we were talking about, and I believe that was in the 90s. Patrick Ewing, Anthony Mason, the whole squad, John Starks, Latrell Sprewell, that era. But Dolan, he's extremely controversial. And if I'm not mistaken, he's the one who invited Trump to come to the game.
Yeah. But he's the president of the United States. He can go anywhere he wants to, but I just thought it was a bad look for him to be sitting next to Dolan, and then Dolan be sitting there looking at the game and Trump falling asleep during the championship game, which is so embarrassing, man, to the New York City and everything, especially with the stuff that's going on today. I'm just so happy that the Knicks lost last night. I am very happy. I hope they win the series, but I'm just so happy that they lost.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know you don't like basketball and you hated basketball, and I understand that. It's just so sad though that. Can you hear me? 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure because my internet seems to be giving me a little trouble today, but it's just ridiculous, man. The fact that he can go wherever he wants. Talking about Donald Trump, he's the president, but it's so embarrassing and so sad that he was invited to come to the game. It's just it just killed the energy. I mean, it killed my energy. It definitely from a fan perspective, the fans couldn't stand outside and watch the game on the jumbotron like they did before. But New Yorkers are resilient, so we're gonna find a way to enjoy ourselves. But one of the things that I find interesting is a few things that I found interesting. So by Trump coming to the game yesterday, they closed off mass amounts of streets, maybe like a 20-block radius from the Garden that on 7th Avenue, and that whole strip was closed. What's interesting about that, earlier you mentioned how expensive those tickets were. I think I read something.
$250,000, the highest price.
I saw floor seats were about $500,000, like $500,000.
Yeah.
But the craziest thing about it to me is the fact that people paid hundreds of thousands to thousands of dollars, and they all had to wait on this ridiculously long line. Now, I'm not sure if the celebrities that were at the game, because I think, Fat Joe was there, of course. You had Spike Lee there. You had
Ben
the
Stiller.
old Knicks.
Ben Stiller and all the other old Knicks and people like that. And
and I thought it was interesting to see how all those people had to wait online to get in, and they spent thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars to go watch this Knicks game, and they had to wait online. And I don't know if you saw all the fences that were up, blocking off Madison Square Garden, which is just crazy. But even more importantly than that is looking at, I think these tickets are probably the most expensive tickets in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, they said that. They said that, the Knicks, New York, the franchise is making money hand over fist. They're going to be making so much money, and it's going to be a lot of people there. It was just a great night. But once again, I'm going to go back to what I said. I'm just glad that they lost, and I hope that they win the series. But there's nothing wrong with losing one game. You know what I'm saying? If you've been winning 13 games in a row, and then all of a sudden you get to the point where you lose one game, and especially when Donald Trump is sitting in there, it's very important. I mean, I think that people are more inclined to love sports than they do their health care. to love sports than they do their civil rights, to love sports than they do the 14th Amendment. You know, to love sports more than they want to go vote. So people will go in there and they'll spend $1,000 on a seat, you know, but there's a lot of people that won't go in there and go to vote for free. So, you know, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It makes you look at how powerful capitalism is over democracy. And people, to your point, don't care. And you know, one of the things that strikes me too is the power of the players, or the lack of power. Because can you imagine if the players in the NBA, both teams, decided to do a massive protest saying, look, we're not going to play today. Donald Trump is coming to the game. We're going to protest Donald Trump being at this game. But that will never happen, because I believe that Americans and athletes and people love money more than they do taking a stand for freedom, for, like you said, the civil rights, for everything that we are currently losing. There's a major war that's happening right now. You know, there's our rights are being overturned. We lost the voting right. You know, there's massive unemployment. People's wages are still crazy low. Rent is ridiculously high. There's so many things that's happening right now that no one seems to really care about.
Well, you know, it's not like you said in the beginning. I don't think that it's about the power that they have, because they already have the power. The political side of the player, they already have that. But it's the choices that they're making. It's not about, you know, it's the choices. They could make a choice not to play last night. They could make a choice that it would shut down a lot of stuff. But no player on that field, on that court field, no player on that court would be struggling financially if they didn't play last night. Even the ones that only make $700,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that somebody, but we make a choice, and our choices, you know, we become a slave to those choices. And that's why they have to continuously do that to get their millions and millions of dollars put in their pocket. And to me, it just seems like it's nothing but like a plantation. The garden is a plantation, and it's a spectacle for people to look at. And it showed that it was a plantation because the biggest master of them all, Donald Trump, came through and fell asleep. Nobody said anything about that. Donald Trump shut down all the little parties around the garden for the people that couldn't afford to get into the garden, because New York has a new mayor that so far is doing a great job for the people. So, you know, in order to open the doors, like for Dolan to have Trump come in there and nobody's saying anything, and it's New York, and it's a game that hasn't happened since '74, like you said, it shows that it's not about power, it's about their choices to actually stand up or not. And, you know, the price that has to be paid is that the rich keep getting richer and the poor just keep getting poor and pushed back. That's what I saw.
Yeah, it is a true testament to power and how much people really care. There's the saying that if you don't stand for anything, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. And that is extremely true. And we got a chance to see it on full display last night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are willing to be inconvenienced because Donald Trump decided to show up to the game. And I hear that he's also going to be at the second game on Wednesday. And he is by far one of the most unpopular presidents, I don't know of all time, but he's definitely not the president that people don't like. It was a bunch of boos and, you know, people protesting outside, but it's just
that's New York. That's New York. People gonna boo against Donald Trump because they know who he is. You know, they know what he's done to Atlantic City. They know what he's done when it comes to Central Park 5. They know what he's done at JFK Airport when they had to confiscate all of his planes off the tarmac because he was basically illegally flying because his business went out of freaking the airline went out of business. So it's this whole the whole country right now, from my opinion, is just it's just a sad situation. It's really bad. I mean, we got Israel attacking Lebanon. Nobody's protesting that anymore. Instead, you got millions of people out in the street cheering for the Knicks. You got President Trump coming to see the Knicks, but yet just the last time he was in Madison Square Garden, it was his rally, his KKK rally, that had a lot of people coming through. So it goes to show you that New York is not a melting pot like people think it is. People can come together because of sports, but ain't nobody melting together.
Yeah, is interesting that you bring that up, is because I remember I could not believe it when they had that rally at Madison Square Garden. Actually, I was surprised because the rally that happened there hasn't happened since the coup. What was that? The Germany, the Nazis had a rally there. Hitler.
No, Hitler didn't have a rally.
Not Hitler. It was the Nazis
during the wartime.
Right. During World War. That was World War II.
Yeah, during World War II. You got to look that up just to make
sure. It was the Nazis that had that rally there.
Yeah, but it's not as clear as just the Nazis. It's a group. It's an organization that may have had it there. But my point is that, I think the last time he was there was during his him and Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and Stephen Miller and the whole Project 2025 crew threw a big rally, a Trump campaign rally there that turned into be just a racial situation. And so, and you had it at the Garden. And the thing about it is that people just don't look at things like that. They look at the game. They look at, which is good. They need a game to bring people together and keep people's mind off of politics. But how are you going to keep your mind off of politics if you got the main dude coming in, the main politician of the world coming in and sitting there and falling asleep at the game, and nobody's really, going to say anything about it? I think that's crazy. We want universal health care, which can happen. Right there in your city right now, Mondani is trying to push that universal child care, which will help a lot, but it will help a lot of people because you know how much it costs to take care of a kid. Sometimes it's like at the low end, it's like $600-700 a week, at the low end out in New York City. But then you got people spending $5,000 a seat, and then you got people spending $25,000 for one night. Or $500,000 from one night, and nobody cares. I mean, it's just that's why one of the reasons. And the players have a choice; they have a choice to play or not to play, and they choose to play. They choose to do what some of these racist politicians tell them to do, and that's shut up and dribble. That's what they choose.
And just to go back quickly, that rally that I was talking about that was held at MSG was in 1939. It was a few months before Germany invaded Poland. It was for the rise of Nazism. It was about 20,000 attendees in Madison Square Garden. That's the last time.
It was before the war.
It was before the war, right? It was before the war.
A couple of months, maybe a year, a couple of months before, a couple of years before it jumped off.
Yeah, it said 6.5 months before they invaded Poland. And it was for the rise of Nazism in Germany, and so it's ironic and maybe not surprising when you know a little bit about the history, when Trump had that rally in MSG, but it also exposed where New York City is, where the country is, how racism and hatred is still alive and well. But back to the players, there's some controversy too with the players that are with not just the players, with the NBA having being sponsored or in partnership with the UAE. Now, the UAE is fueling or funding a major genocide in Sudan right now, and there's a lot of controversy behind that, because if you think about it, you have NBA players who protest, who say they don't stand for certain things. They don't. They stand against discrimination, hatred, racism, sexism. However, you have a major sponsor or partner in the NBA and the UAE that's literally funding a genocide, and so there's so many different parallels and contradictions with what's happening in sports, and to the point, I hate to hear that statement for players to shut up and dribble, but when you look at it, it's the truth. This is what's happening. And so the power structure, the money structure, capitalism, it always supersedes the rights of the people. It always supersedes on what are your actual moral values? Like, do you really care? And do you even really have power? And if so, it's not being utilized. You know what I'm saying? This is the biggest stage, and I imagine if there were an opportunity to protest and make a statement, that would be the biggest time. And it's a very controversial thing because some people will say, well, cats need to make their money, and it's the NBA, they can't do something like that. But then you have to ask yourself a question: is what do you really care about? You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that. Huh?
You know what they care about. What do you mean? Who you asking? Who you asking? What do you care about? Who you asking that to?
It's a question to everyone who's there, like the players. It's a question to the people who's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on the tickets. It's a question to all of us, to every single American that feel or believes in what democracy is. Because what's the most fascinating thing about it is you have many celebrities who are anti or who are pro-Palestine that was at the game. You have people who did not vote for Donald Trump at the game, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it makes me question, or it not even makes me question, it shows what the true values and morals are. Like, do you really believe in democracy? Because if you did, then you wouldn't necessarily support this. And it's hard, right? It's hard because we're consumers. We live in America. We love capitalism. We love making money. And it's like we got to pick and choose our battles, right? The other night I was watching I believe it was the Tony Awards, and I don't remember the actor's name, the Broadway actor's name. He had just won an award for the Tonys, and he made an incredible speech. And he was talking about, how billionaires, they don't belong, and we have to stop funding billionaires, and we need to take a stand for the gay, trans, lesbians, and all that. And it was a really, really great speech. But I was thinking, like, damn. He's saying all that, but isn't Broadway plays probably funded by some major billionaires? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, we have the freedom of speech to speak out. We also have the freedom of choice, right? So it's an interesting dichotomy where we're trying to like where do you stand up and represent? When do you say, like, enough is enough? Because then we have that No Kings rally throughout the United States. It was millions of people, if I'm not mistaken. But then what is that for? Like, what's the point? Because if we're gonna go and support, and trust me, I'm a sports fan too. I'm a crazy sports fan. I love basketball, I love football. But then it's like, how do you pick and choose where you make your choices, what you decide to support? You know what I'm saying?
It depends on what your idol is. So if your idol's
Mm.
money, then you're gonna support the money. Like everybody knows that Dolan from the Knicks, who is the Knicks, he's the owner of the Knicks, donated a lot of money to Trump's campaigns. Over 500, first campaign over 500,000. I think the second one over $200,000, and I'm sure he gave more in the back end. You know, flying around in planes and all that stuff. So I'm sure they have a thing. So it doesn't, you know, just like, okay, you were speaking to me a couple of days ago about, excuse me, my voice is gone.
You're good.
About about the brother who got shot by the Asian brother in the back a couple of weeks ago. I mean, when was it? A year ago? What was that?
Last year.
Last year, right? And I don't remember the brother's name, unfortunately. I do want to say his name. What was his name? What was his name? What was his name?
What you talk?
Look it up.
Yeah, we should remember this brother's name.
Yeah, we should definitely say his name. But as you look up his name, I'll just keep. But the thing about it is that, you know, people are talking about protests, just like, you know, you're talking about protesting.
Cyrus Carmack Belton.
All right. And the gentleman who shot him, not only shot him in his back, he was in a store, and the guy said that he was stealing from the store, which he really wasn't. Some say he had a weapon, some say he didn't, but he didn't pull the weapon out. He didn't have the weapon pointed at the gentleman. And if I'm not mistaken, he got shot, not 4 feet away, not 10 feet away, not 5 feet away.
Like face down. So what happened? I watched the whole video. I didn't look at the court case, but I watched the video and
before you say that, are you sure you watched the right video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is a video that they showed on the news. I seen it online on different platforms. So Cyrus Carmack Belton had gone into the store. He had on a backpack. You know how it is when we go into a store, they always think that we're gonna steal something. So they asked him to take his backpack off. He took his backpack off. He walks to the back to the refrigerator. I'm not sure if it was the mother of or the wife of the guy. His name is his last name is Chow. I won't give him too much airtime, but the store owner's wife, I believe, also followed Cyrus to the refrigerator. But she was like an aisle over watching him. You know, as soon as he walked in the store, he was being watched. He goes to the refrigerator. He grabs 4 bottles of water, stands there for like, I don't know, a second or two, and he puts the waters back. He grabs his backpack and starts heading out the store. Now, you can't hear what the conversation is between Chow's and his son, who was, because his son was behind the register. You don't hear the conversation, but as Cyrus is leaving out the store, they follow behind him, right? So Cyrus sees them and he starts running. Now, this is what you don't see because it's off camera. At least I didn't see it. They start chasing Cyrus, and Cyrus falls. But when he falls, he had a gun in his pocket, and so the gun falls out.
How old was Cyrus?
Cyrus was 14. Cyrus Carmack Belton is his name. Cyrus Carmack Belton.
And he's a 14-year-old kid.
14-year-old.
Kid.
Yeah. And it was in 2003 is in South Carolina.
A child, right? Okay.
Yeah, a teenager. Yep. In South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina, and it happened in 2023. Yeah, so they chase him out the store. Cyrus falls to the ground, and his name is Rick Chow, who is the store owner, pulls out a gun and shoots Cyrus, kills him right there. And now the question becomes, well, and he gets off. Chiga goes, the trial happened maybe a few days ago or last week. Chow, the jury finds him not guilty, right? And so what angers me about this particular situation, okay, granted, what this guy Child says that he was defending his son's life, but there was never a point that Cyrus Carmack Belton pulled out the gun and aimed it at his son, at any of the store clerks, at Cheeky Rick Child. He never aimed a gun at him. The gun happened to fall out of his pocket when he tripped and fell.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is as much as I know. You guys who are watching this can give me corrections if there's something that I'm missing. However, there was no what was the reason they were chasing after him with a gun? Let's say he did steal something, a candy bar, a bag of chips, a bottle of water. Let's say he did steal that. Does it grant you chasing him down with a gun and killing him?
But Donald, this is the deal. I tell you this all the time. We always go through this. Is that I hear everything you said, man. I can sympathize to a point, but nobody cares about this man. I'm not going to say nobody, but most people out there, and even the people who do care, cannot sympathize because some people have been cauterized. Some people have been numbed to these shootings because a lot of these things happen. It happened years before that to to a black sister that got shot in the face in a convenience store right in the store. But I like to let people see it from a standpoint of them fearing for their lives, not for that young man's life, and not even life, and not even for Child's life. Him going to jail and him getting out. So yeah, what I thought was that he didn't shoot him there in the store. He didn't shoot him point blank. He didn't shoot him because of his son, right? He might have said that, but the evidence doesn't show that. And then everybody knows that because they said that he shot him 100 yards away from the store, not at the store, not in the store. It was 100 yards away. So either he's a crazy marksman and he shot 100 yards, or he chased him down with a gun and shot him 100 yards away, right? If that's what happened, right? So that means that Child should at least be guilty for running through the streets with a loaded gun 100 yards away. And if he shot him further away, then he put other people's lives in risk.
Yeah, I agree. That means that there's a premeditation because he thought about.
Right, he thought about it, but it doesn't even matter if it was premeditated because people don't care about a black boy, a black child. That's why I said child and not a black boy getting killed in the street. Or the guy wouldn't have got off for all that evidence because he threatened other people's lives in the street just to get to this guy. Then when he gets to him, he shoots him. I think I don't know where he shot him. He shot him in the back or something.
Yeah, it says that he shot him in his back.
Right. So he shot him in the back after running 100-something yards, not in front of the place, not in the store, away from the store. So that's a city situation, right? And then we go all the way back to what you said, protest. Now, I would never protest anything like that. My protesting days are over. Never protest. Okay. And the reason why I don't protest it and speak up about it and scream up about it is because right now, what people that care about things like this have to do is that if we protest, we bring more attention to that guy Child. We bring more attention to something that's already happened before. You keep protesting, all you're doing is you're begging them to stop doing what they do. We're begging them to lock up this guy. We're begging them to do this. We're begging them to do that. And that's what you do when you protest. I'm not protesting no more. It's time to stop begging them and actually get something done within the system. The reason he got off is because these elected officials in that area, in that town, don't care about us, don't care about the contributions we give to the community. don't care about our children, right? So of course he's going to get off because there's nobody there to represent us properly until somebody gets shot. It's either going to be some pastor or it's not even going to be a mayor. It's usually some pastor that's just crying next to the bomb, and then the next thing goes on. And they sue, and they get $100 million, and then it goes away.
So are you saying that so what you're saying is that the laws should protect, like, so what are you trying to say when you say that statement?
I'm saying that if we understand, as Black people, especially in brown people in this nation, I say brown because of the immigration situation, if we understand, what the law is supposed to be, what the Constitution says, how we can protect ourselves and how we can take their money, then these things won't happen. These things won't happen again. But there's certain things that we're not privy to, right?
I disagree. I disagree. So then what do you say about
which is systematic? Let me finish. Which is systematic.
Okay, excuse me. Go ahead.
It's systematic. So, the reason why we don't know those things because it's a systematic thing, right? Where they set it up for us not to understand our rights. We're not to understand the civic duties of what we're supposed to do and what people are supposed to do for us in those towns. We need to elect these DAs, and we need to talk to people, man, and stop. Protesting ain't gonna help. It didn't help. It didn't help white people in Portland, and it didn't help Black people in the '60s. It ain't helping nobody. Protesting don't help nobody no more.
Now, I agree with you on the protesting part, but where I disagree with you is, I don't think that Black people are crying. We are in 2026, and we still have sundown towns. In 2026, there are still towns that African American people or people that have melanin in their skin cannot go to, because there's a chance that they will get killed or they will be harassed. In 2026, a vote has not changed that. We live in America that is built off of racism. Just a few weeks ago, Trump tried to pass a law to give reparations to the January 6th rioters, when African Americans still have not received reparations or repair for all that we've gone through in this country, still to this day. So I am an absolute fan of voting, and I believe that voting does make changes, that help to make changes in states and cities, etc. However, it does not resolve or fix the problem of racism that we have in this country. Because if that were the case, we still wouldn't have sundown towns. By law, those structures would be completely dismantled.
Well, they're not completely dismantled, but it's not, sundown towns are not legal by law.
But period. Why are they still around? How come it hasn't been eradicated? How come there's not a major police force in those towns? How come they're not governors? How come they're not senators? How come they're not city council members that make sure that these towns are no longer sundown towns and that you could go in?
They are no longer sundown.
Feel safe.
They're no longer sundown towns. It's just that there's some people who hold up that culture of a sundown town, but there are no legally made sundown towns. And the reason the people who are holding up those cultures are the politicians in those areas. And they're usually, a sundown town can only be a sundown town if it's in the South. It can only be a sundown town, I'll take that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
It can only be a sundown town if there's Black people in the town or around the town, right? So what I'm talking about is that it's illegal to have a sundown town, right? That's number one. And number two, the people who run the town have been elected by the people who vote in those towns. The DAs, the city council members, the assembly people, those people in those towns, like there's a town out here like that. There's a town out here called Martinsville, right? And Martinsville is a town out here. It's only a couple of miles from Indianapolis, but they don't have the proper. Well, it's proper for them, but they still live by that culture because the people who run that little tiny small town were not elected by the people who care, who people want to get rid of that. So that's what I'm talking about. It's all about the elections and how, this can happen. Now, after the elections happen and everything goes through and we try everything, there's things that can happen that can shut things down again. But my point is that they haven't. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I remember when we drove to when we went to the DNC in Chicago. And you said, yo, we need to get on the road by a certain time. This was in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you was like, yo, we need to leave and get out by a certain time says a lot. That we are still, as Black folks, African Americans, we still can't be in certain areas in certain towns. There's no, like, I hear what you're saying, but there is a certain point where I gotta call bullshit, because racism, hatred still exists, and it would always exist. But from a standpoint, when you're talking about laws put in place, not just laws, but laws need to be implemented in order for them to work, right? They need to be practiced, and that's still not happening. So for a situation like Cyrus getting murdered in South Carolina, and the guy being acquitted, they still don't consider us human beings. We could be shot down like dogs in the street. There's still lynchings happening. Now, it may not be on the scale that it was, 60 years ago, 40 years ago, which is so I'm 45. It's not that long ago. It's not that far removed. So I love to believe that a vote will change that. I would love that, because I think that all of us.
I don't think that a vote will change it. I think that the people galvanizing and coming together to vote can help it out and to sustain and keep it going. I mean, we're talking about just we could talk about a sundown town, but there's sundown towns in our own communities towards each other.
No, there isn't. Well, no, there isn't.
Okay, well, there's a place out here in Chicago that a lot of people, it's all over the internet. People proud, they post it all the time. I'm on O Street. I'm on O Street. I'm on O Block. I'm on O Block, right? O Block. Just like when we home. Yo, I'm from here. I'm from there. We show our balls and how strong and how much testosterone we got because we know this block, or we walked on this block where Black men are just shooting each other and killing each other, and where poverty is just high to be proud on sometimes, right? But there's times when I go to Chicago, where people say, yo, man, it's getting late. Don't go down by O Block. Yo, man, it's getting late. Don't go to the far east side out here in Indiana. Yo, man, don't walk through where my church is in New York, where CCC is at certain now, East New York. You can't be. Yo, man, you got to be careful when you're over there, and don't be walking around through there. Now, is that systematic? No, but it's not legal. Right? Back in the day, in the 30s, when our ancestors were walking through the streets and they were building us up to vote, they had to go through those communities when they had no rights at all. We have a certain amount of little rights where we have a certain amount of protections. Let's go through that. Where Frederick Douglass and from Frederick Douglass to Martin Luther King to Medgar Evers,
there's no Black sundown towns, Martin. There's no Black sundown towns. What there is we do, and this goes for every single low-income community. It's not just Black folks, white low-income communities, Asian low-income communities, Arab low-income communities. It's a universal thing. If you live in an impoverished community, there will be crime. What makes the difference? A sundown town is very specific. If you are a black person, male, female, and you're going into this white sundown town where they are racist, it is very different than trying to walk through O Block.
No,
Because it's based on the color of the skin. You may not see it like that, but this is what the facts are. That's what makes it a sundown town.
You don't have what about if you don't have the color of the color of the gang?
The flag, the bandana,
the gang, or whatever it is.
Yeah, but that's not. It's not the same thing as the color of your skin. You're being, but the color when you walk into these sundown towns, and this is the history of racism in America. You cannot walk into these white towns without possibly being killed or lynched. Now I hear how you're trying to make a parallel.
Well, like I said,
you're saying gang communities, but it's different.
Legal. Number one, it's not legal, and number two, it hasn't happened in the last 20, 30 years.
What hasn't happened in the last 20, 30 years?
Somebody walking through a sundown town, and they say, this is sundown town, boy, and they hang them. That ain't happened from what we know. From what we know, it hasn't happened. But what we do know is when, what's his name, got dragged. What we do know, I'll put it to you this way. What we do know is the same poverty that impoverished and creates crime in our communities is that same type of way of thinking and poverty, right? And not voting and not getting the right people that happens in these so-called sundown towns. Same thing. Poverty is poverty. And people, ignorance is ignorance. And people will continue to be ignorant. And a bullet is a bullet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but systematic racism is systematic racism. The structure is very, very different. So it's not so blanketed.
That's what's wrong with O Block and
you're making such a blanket statement to try to say that it's equal because a murder is a murder, a poor person is a poor person. But when you have systematic oppression, it's very, very different. That it's constitutional, it's state mandated, it's in the laws that govern
and how do we change
the country and the system.
If it's in the laws, then how do we change it other than burn it all down?
Hopefully through a vote.
That's my point.
Hopefully through a vote.
People that don't vote they don't have no hope because there's 93 million people didn't vote. And Louisiana is a perfect example of the black vote not coming out and not taking up for themselves. And all you got to do, I don't have to say anything. All you got to do is look at the black vote in Louisiana. It was horrible, and and all in the South.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
Here's the thing, and I want to make this statement clear, because I don't believe that I believe that voting is important. However, people who don't vote, one, are misinformed. Two, they gave up on the system. But the biggest one is the first one I said. They're misinformed. They don't understand the power of voting, right? Because if I live in a low-income community and all I see when people talk about voting all the time is like, yo, but the cops are still on my block locking people up. Like, we still going to jail. We're still not making more than minimum wage. I still can't feed my family because gas prices are high or the rent is too high, and then there's no understanding or explanation on how voting can help to possibly change that. Then I'm not going to believe in the system. I'm going to say, you know what, man, forget this. I'm not going to vote. I'm better off going out here on the block trying to hustle to make some money than me going to vote, because there's no understanding. See, this is why as you get older, you gain more understanding, but why it's very important for people to understand how voting affects change in your community is very important. Because I remember when, I'm from the Bronx. I grew up in the Bronx. I remember when politicians would come around, and my mom was involved in a lot of it. They would say, we need 1,000 signatures, right? And so they would utilize someone who lives in the community that's known to go around and collecting these signatures. But when people are signing off, they're signing off for the principle that they know the person who's giving them the paper to sign off on. They don't really know who the politician is. So they sign off on it, and when that politician gets into office and they're still not getting the things that they need, they're like, yo, what the hell is going on? I voted for this person and I'm not getting what I need. So there's still so much misinformation. And people, but however, here's the flip side of that coin. If I am casting a vote for something, but I'm still supporting the people who's oppressing communities and countries, then is a contradiction. It doesn't make sense. I think that it's really important though for people to have more it needs to be more information. There's not enough people out here who are helping voters or communities to understand the power of the vote. It still doesn't happen. And again, back to my point, like, look, we go back to the Knicks again. The Knicks and the game last night and Trump showing up. It says a lot, because yes, we'll cast our vote and we say that we don't want these things happening. We don't want to support this candidate, but then we still showing up to events that these people, we're still supporting the people that we say we're going against. So it's a contradiction. It doesn't make sense. And so if I am a non-voter or someone who doesn't vote, I'll look at something like that and be like, yo, and you telling me that voting matters? And you got cats literally in the arena with Donald Trump supporting the Knicks, which we know Dolan supports Donald Trump and is a racist. Yo, it's like, yo, so my vote matters? And we're still supporting racists? And we're still supporting people who are supporting genocides? Like, so I don't know. It's a very slippery slope. You know what I'm saying? And I truly believe that people need more information. We need to understand the power that we possess. Now, yesterday I was watching a live stream on TikTok, and young New Yorkers were going crazy. Like, it didn't make sense. It's so many people on the street, even though they blocked off 7 blocks where you couldn't get to the garden. A few streets over, a few avenues over, there were thousands, hundreds of people on the street, so much that the police could not contain the amount of people. And I'm talking about, this is not a black thing. It's not young black kids. This is everybody, white,
Chinese, Staten Island, they bring Indian, people together. Everybody, yeah, we know who everybody is, right? Young
kids on the street. The Pacers bus was going by. They were throwing garbage cans at the bus, and just
Spurs
crazy, unruly. But my point is not,
You said the Pacers? That was last year.
I'm sorry, not the Pacers. Excuse me, the Spurs right. Bus. I believe it was the Spurs bus driving past, and they were throwing like garbage cans and stuff like that. One dude had on a Spurs jersey to chase him down, beat him up, ripped his jersey off, burned the jersey. This is everybody. This is young New Yorkers. So it's no one specific race. But so many people that police officers cannot contain this massive group. My point about bringing that up is that is power, but being transferred in the wrong place. So many people that the police cannot contain them, but they're using that power to be destructive. Instead of saying, yo, now that says a lot. Like, what do we do with that? Like, people have the power, but we're so distracted and consumed in consumerism and capitalism that we don't care. We are willing to do anything to be entertained, and that happens to me sometimes as well. Where we prioritize what's important to us, and watching Donald Trump show up at the game and all the security detail and all these barricades and blocks put up for him to come through for his protection, rightfully so. However, it doesn't matter because he's at the game sleeping. It inconvenienced the people, but it doesn't matter because people don't care. We want to be entertained.
Mm-hmm.
We have the UAE, who is a partner with the NBA and the WNBA that's supporting and committing genocide in Sudan. We're talking about millions of people getting murdered. But do we care? No. Our cell phones. Little kids dying every single day for this cobalt or whatever's in here. But we still buy iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is like, yo, how much do we really care? What are we truly willing to stand up for?
Nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. And like I tell you all the time, my main concern is basically us. So when I talk about the vote and you say that people are misinformed, just, we got to wrap it up soon.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is that, our voting power has shown throughout this nation's inception how strong it is. Our power has shown throughout the inception of this nation how strong we are. But as time goes by, we just lose that when we hit glitches. And glitches being Black Wall Street, glitches being our healthcare being taken away, glitches being, but yet we're still resilient in what we want to be resilient in. And that's just for us saying that we're resilient. But what are we going to do? How long do we have to be resilient? How long do we have to continue to deal with this without getting our rights back? Because we get them back all the time. It's not like we lose all the time. So the reason why after Reconstruction, Black people had to vote, and what happened? Black people were voting, Black men were voting. We got people in there, and then small entities started figuring out, well, they don't have a lot of money, so we'll start charging them to vote. But Black people still voted, even though they had to pay to vote. It was a voting tax back in those days, after Reconstruction, right? Then after that, you had the 14th Amendment. That was the whole Black vote. That's why we got immigration coming in here illegally. It's so many things that we can do, but yet we don't. And that's my thing. So if I'm walking through a sundown town, if I can't go through a sundown town at night, I ain't going to go through the sundown town. But I remember.
But I don't think. I'm sorry. I'm pardon me for interjecting. I don't think that we don't do anything, man. I don't think that's true. I think that we don't do anything. Maybe not enough.
I didn't say that we don't do anything. I said we've done it all. But what we do is we get distracted by like you said, the bullshit, which seems like it's big at the time, but it's bullshit. And then we have leaders now, like I gotta say him, like the Al Sharpton, that'll go and start screaming, but not have a solution and a point at the end. Like Selma, Alabama. There was a reason why they were walking across that bridge. There was a reason why they were doing it, and it was because of the vote, right? And that helped so much. But if you don't have a back reason why you should protest or stand up or walk across something or do something, then it doesn't make the right to vote was coming from our vote. Louisiana lost their governor. Their governor is horrible. I was speaking to Miss Chase, a couple of the Stella Chase, who owns a restaurant called Doogie Chase. Yeah, and they do movies after her. Yeah, they've done movies on her, so forth and so on. And she was talking, her and my cousin, her name is Carl Turner. Carl Turner owns a seafood company out there. And they were saying how bad it is now. It was bad when Trump put the tariffs, but now that they have this new governor that's pushing back against Black businesses, it shouldn't have happened. Out of 300 to 400,000, maybe more, I'm trying to be nice, maybe 300,000 Black people who live in that part of Louisiana, only 12,000 came out to vote. And they had a governor in there that were for the people. Over. And you know how long governors stay? 8 years, I think it is. So he's in there for 8 daggone years because only 12,000, same thing in Mississippi, same thing in Georgia. It keeps happening in Georgia. These are Black states that are mostly mainly Black people that they don't come out to vote. And then when stuff don't go right, or when we don't win in the presidential election, then it's all about, yo, man, this is whack. We got to do this again. We're going to lose our this. We're losing everything now because of that. So that's what I'm saying. If my ancestors said vote, and I'm not doing that, I'm doing a disservice to my people, and especially if I'm not teaching them how to vote.
Yeah, I think that you know, my question is always why? Why are people not coming out and voting as they should? And I think that's information as education.
Well, they're
I
too
don't think
busy
it's
watching
just
the
that.
Knicks at the Garden.
Yeah, I mean, we like to be entertained. We
And
love
it's not even
entertainment. We
us.
love our
It's
sports.
not. We
I
watching
mean,
it on TV and in the park. It's not even us up in there. But even the
nah,
people that,
majority of no,
right, and
it's
even
not.
the New York liberal people, they don't care either because they're up in there doing the same thing.
Yeah, but who's on the courts? Us.
And we don't have to be
We're on
there.
those courts.
And that pisses me off. That's why I'm not a basketball fan, man.
Yeah,
I'm
but the
not.
same thing happens in the NFL, man. It
Yeah,
happens
but
in
like I
all
tell my
sports. It
brothers out
doesn't.
here, NFL, you
It's,
can't see them brothers. Sometimes you
yo,
can't
but
see them.
it doesn't
They
matter.
got
But
the
you know they
helmet on,
black.
they got all that good gear on, but you
You
can
know
see
they black though,
these
man.
brothers look
It
like
doesn't
me.
matter.
These brothers look like
So
me and you running up and down that court with no gear on.
same thing
What a
in the
stadium.
NFL. Running up and down the court,
No,
running
I'm
up
not
and down
talking
the
about
field.
physically running. I'm talking about you seeing them.
Yeah, but it's
seeing
no
people,
difference.
You can see their faces, you can see their personalities, you can see their heart, you can see the things that they're doing. It makes
doesn't
a
matter.
big difference.
It
makes
doesn't
a
matter.
huge difference. That's number one. And number two, the culture of the NBA is totally different than the culture of the National Baseball League and the Football League. The Football League is always going to be a racist. For as long as we know, it's always going to have heavy racism.
So you say you like football more than basketball, though?
What? Say that again. I like
You say
football.
You say you like you. So you're saying you like football
I
more
like
than
to
basketball?
watch. I like to watch football more than basketball.
But
And
there's
the
no
reason why,
difference.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Okay,
It's because
let's hear it.
basketball is saying all the time. Basketball is always saying that we're for the people, we're down with the people, we give back from Shaq to LeBron. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, we're doing that. Football, right? They don't say nothing. They don't care.
Oh,
about
really? That's why they sing
They
the
don't-
Black National Anthem now in the NFL?
Say what? They have to do that because they're so whack. They killed
That
my
don't
man
make
Gillis.
that makes no sense.
Neal.
That you sound just like a liberal who says, "Yo, free Palestine," but I'm showing up to the Knicks game and supporting Dolan and the UAE with the NBA.
No,
It doesn't make
first of all-
sense. It's
first of all-
a
first of all,
contradiction.
even people that say they care about Palestine don't care about no
Yo,
Palestine.
come on,
There
man.
ain't nobody
That-
vote. Ain't nobody out there protesting.
Yo,
no war.
that makes no
about it.
sense, Doc. Come on. You're
So-
saying because you can't see the players,
Right.
it makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference.
We know who all the play. First of all, all right. At least I could say this. At least in the NBA, most of the guys who play at the NBA, whether it's actually, I can't. I'm conflicted in what I'm about to say, but I'll say it anyway. In the NFL, we know that these players are coming from impoverished communities, and they're going to these racist schools for sure. In the NBA, it's a little bit different. A little bit. It's similar but different because those players are also coming from impoverished communities. Not all the time, but they go to college and they choose these colleges and they actually get an education. In the NFL, a lot of those players, most of those players go to these schools, and these schools, and they're saying, that's why I say conflicted, because the schools receive major funding because of these athletes going to the school to big them up. But in the NFL, it's much more apparent and transparent that they are going to a racist ass school. And they don't care. It's the same thing. So
It's
you're
the same
saying
thing with
that,
the NBA though. What do you
I'm
say?
sorry?
Same thing with the NBA.
That's why I said I'm conflicted in the statement that I'm making. But my argument to you is that you're saying you don't like the NBA because of these reasons, but yet you like the NFL. But it's the same damn system.
No,
Just
it's
some-
not. No, it's
And
not.
it's, and
totally
it's
different.
actually worse.
No,
It's
the
worse
NFL,
because-
the NFL's culture is worse than the NBA's culture. But what makes it equal is that the NBA people have more power to get things done than the NFL people do. Because if you look at Colin Kaepernick and how he kneeled and what happened to him, and if you go to NBA, the last time that thing happened was with Raul Makdoud. That's the last thing that happened with him. He was the one that stood up, just like
Yeah, but
Colin
then he got
Kaepernick.
blackballed too.
But Raul, he got
His house
blackballed.
got burnt down.
Right, but they can't. But that was 20, 30 years ago, and he says
That wasn't that long ago. It wasn't 30 years ago, maybe
listen,
like 15
okay,
years.
let's say it's 5 years ago, but we know it's much longer than 5 years ago. But when he got his house burnt down, he even said it. Nowadays, that these players have more, because of him, have more of a say. That you could kneel in the NBA. You could kneel and not have to lose your stuff in the NBA. You could not shoot in the, if you do that in the NFL or the National Baseball League, you ain't getting no job, but you can do something. You can actually, a basketball player, and who proves that they could do something on a small scale is LeBron. You can do stuff, but you can't do stuff unless you're part of a big organization like UNICEF.
So wait,
in the NFL.
So you can watch the NFL more because of that.
No, I really don't. No, I don't watch it more. There's something I can't watch. Like, I'm not really a super duper sports dude, but I can't watch basketball because it continues to remind me of myself and my people when they're running up that court.
But the NFL is the same. I feel like the NFL is the same. I mean, because I'm connected to that as well. I used to play football and basketball.
Well,
and
yeah, but
it's the same system.
Basketball, even if you don't know how to play basketball.
Yeah, but it's the same.
You're playing more basketball out there. No, it is the same. But what I'm saying, it's exactly the same. I agree with you, but they can do more with their platform than any other sport other than soccer. They could do more because it's a street game and it's out there in the street and you can see them. Baseball ain't gonna do nothing. Baseball ain't gonna do nothing because right now baseball is mostly, Japanese, Latin.
Baseball did something. Baseball did something. The integration.
Back in the day, they did that. But baseball right now is not gonna. Their culture is not basically about giving back to America. Right?
I don't know, man. I kind of disagree. I'm not saying now baseball
there's no more black baseball players.
That's a whole nother class.
Black baseball players.
Because you don't necessarily have to go to college to play Major League Baseball. And basketball and football, you most of the time these guys go to college and they play for these teams.
But these guys go to college too. They get recruited from college. Baseball has a draft.
Yeah, they do, but it's not the same type of system. Like there's not the same trajectory of recruitment. You understand what I'm saying? Like with football and basketball, most of these guys are being recruited from college. In baseball, if I'm not mistaken, I need to do some more research on this, but I believe in baseball, you don't necessarily have to go to college the same way and getting that same kind of recruitment. Like you could be in another country playing baseball and be nice, and you'll play like in a B league or C league, and then they'll try you out for a team. You don't have to go to college like you do in the NFL or the NBA. You know what I'm saying? It's different. And then baseball, on my end, it looked like I'm freezing, but in baseball, they became integrated because of the Negro leagues and Jackie Robinson and Satchel Paige and all these great players. Most of them didn't make it from the Negro leagues to the MLB. However, they changed the game because of integration. It was a much more bigger deal. However, all those systems are still the same. So for me, I can't say that I will watch more. I could watch one over the other because of the statement you made. I feel like NBA and NFL are the same thing, whether you can see them or not. They still don't have any.
They're definitely the same thing. They're definitely the same thing. They are. But from a standpoint of giving back to the community, the NBA has more of a better track record, and also they have more power than the NFL has when it comes to our communities. And that's on the rich people, on the billionaire levels that donate, and on the street level, the dude on the street that's selling whatever he's got to sell, or walking around selling apples or whatever. The NBA has more of influence in that than the NFL, the National Baseball League, and that. And soccer is the only one that's close to that.
To me, watching the NFL is harder because they're getting paid less and there's more damage on their bodies and their mental health than in the NBA. At least in the NBA, yes, they are running up and down the court. They're playing for slave match, same system. But the caveat or the difference to me is in the NFL, those men are making way less money, and their injuries, their mental health injuries, that CTE is no joke.
Right.
They're being paid less money. They're much more disposable than an NBA player is, 100%. So I actually feel if I was making a choice, for me personally, if I'm making a choice which I'm going to support or watch, I would be less inclined to watch the NFL because I know that these players are not just disposable, but they're literally risking their lives when they get that clash. That helmet that messes your brain up completely.
Well, that's their choice. They
just like in the NBA is their choice. Like we all have choice,
that's
right?
all of their choices, and that's
what America, baby.
And that's my point. My point is that I don't support any of them. I haven't bought a ticket to even a WNBA game. I've been to one because me and my wife have to go to business stuff.
I've been to one last week, and shout out to the Liberty.
Yeah. I don't buy a ticket because I don't support none of it. I don't support anything, but I see what I see, and I see that there can be changes done, and people choose not to do it. I see that people, like you said a couple of days ago, what if the Knicks said we're not, and the Spurs said we're not playing? Yo, that would be such a big move in America. That would be such a great thing to change things. If Jordan said after whatever player when Breonna Taylor got killed, whatever player was playing when Breonna Taylor got killed, they said, well, we're not going to dunk. They could have played all day and night and made all their money. If they said we're not dunking for Breonna Taylor, or we're going to stop in the middle of the game because Breonna Taylor and resume it tomorrow, there would be so many changes because people follow us everywhere we go. If hip hop music, well, they don't control that. But if somebody would say we're not doing this no more, no matter what they say, they would change. We have a lot of power, and we just don't realize our power. And we don't need to be how ignorant. How many times does somebody have to tell you over and over again that you have power? You know, and tell you that you're ignorant. They tell us that we're ignorant, and we know we're not. But yet we still don't capitalize on our stuff. But you know, we could go on and on. But thank God the Knicks lost last night. Hopefully they win the rest of the season. Man.
You stay in Indianapolis with that crap. I want the Knicks to win.
No, not me. I think that I mean, if y'all made enough money. Y'all made enough money. It's the biggest. How much they made more money than any other basketball
in ticket sales in NBA history.
Right now, somebody asked me like that last night. Like, who the heck can afford to go to the Garden? They sell them out in the Garden, but yet they don't have food on people's plates to eat.
New York is a different breed, man. New York is a different breed.
With LA.
This is why New York is the capital of the world. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different breed. Capital of the world financially,
but it ain't capital of the world for us.
Where is the capital of the world for us?
I say no capital of the world.
Huh?
There's
wherever
no
we are.
The capital of the world.
Shout out to Karen. Well, shout out to Karen Hunter. Global majority. We are the global majority.
Okay, all right. So the capital of the world. The capital for me is the kingdom.
Well, the kingdom of God, of course. What first and foremost, 100%.
But what I'm saying is, on here on this earth, there's no capital. But all that being said, Trump fell asleep last night. Thank God for me, I'm glad they lost because we know that he's not a good luck charm. I hope when he goes to the Spurs lose because we know that he's not a good luck charm.
He's not traveling to no Texas.
2.5 more years of this cat. But anyway, we got to wrap up.
He's not traveling to Texas. Trump is not going to Texas, so it's only going to be in New York. And my closing words.
They love him there.
Where, in Texas?
Yeah,
but he's not from Texas, so he's not going to go to Texas, man. But I don't even care. I don't care.
The governor.
I don't care. We're giving him too much airtime right now. I don't care.
DeSantis is the governor. No,
that's Florida.
Who's the Texas guy? The Texas guy is the guy in the wheelchair.
Who the governor of Texas?
This is the guy in the wheelchair. What's his name? Right, just real quick.
I can't remember his name. They got mad when Jasmine Crockett dissed him. I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, the one in the wheelchair, right?
Governor of Texas.
Yeah, what's his name, man? He's the dude. He's worse than DeSantis.
Greg Abbott. Yeah, Greg Abbott.
Yeah, Greg Abbott, man. Come on, man. He's going. He will be there.
Trump is not going to Texas, man. He's
Okay.
I'm 100% sure of that.
All right.
But yeah, man. So just a little closing statements. A quote from Tupac. Who do you believe in?
The last person you needed to say. Do you have anybody else other than him, man?
Hey, that's still my favorite rapper, so don't hate.
Is there anybody else that you know that?
Yes, there's many other people I believe in, but however, Pac is still my favorite rapper. And he's just as conflicted as people who's voting against their own interests.
He's dead, so he's not conflicted.
He was conflicted.
He ain't conflicted now. He was.
Come on, man.
And somebody took him out because he was so conflicted.
Yeah, just like they take out every powerful person.
He wasn't powerful, please, man. Tupac had no power, man.
Tupac had
and he was too loved to have power. Come on, man. The people
who have
power, he was too loved to have power. The people who have power are the people who hated. People hated Martin Luther King. People hated Malcolm X. People hated McGavin because he was running around trying to.
No, they loved them as well. They loved them as well.
63% of the nation hated Malcolm X, black and white. I mean, Martin Luther King, black and white. More than half of the nation until he died. The same thing with Malcolm X until he died because he became El Malik Shabazz. Come on, man. When he was Malcolm X, everybody liked him. But when he said everybody come together, it was like, oh, he's crazy. Kill him. And that's what they did.
People hated Tupac too, and they love him even more now. He's become immortalized after he died.
Oh my God.
It's like Elvis. It's like Elvis for white people. Come on now. People still believe Tupac is alive. I said it's like Elvis for white people with Tupac. Yeah, just like Michael Jackson. You know, if people are still trying to emulate you after you die, oh yeah, you know, you had a major.
You got to go because your level of I don't know. Just go ahead, man.
Yeah, stop hating. Come on, you can't say nothing about me if you say you watch NFL players. You like NFL players more than NBA players. It's the same fucking toilet, same toilet, same shit.
No, it's not. I can see that.
Man. Yo, but thank y'all for tuning in to another great conversation with my man 50 grand best friend brother Martin. We're on the Road to Legacy podcast, where our objective is always to inspire, influence, and educate. Make sure you hit that subscription button and support what it is that we do. Subscribing takes nothing for you. Just hit that like button, share with a friend, tell a friend. And until next time.
Which is probably going to be this time next week. We may have to do this more and more every day and be more consistent for our audience and people who really care about what we have to say. So once again, we want to apologize to everyone out there because we're busy. We're doing stuff. We're working on different things. And if you definitely want to support us, we'll let y'all know how to do that later on because we ain't ready.
Just hit that subscription button. That's how they can support us. Hit that subscription button.
All right. Well, we need donations too because we've been definitely supporting other nonprofits. We're dealing with some stuff in Juneteenth and doing a lot. So we got to come on next week to tell you exactly what we're doing. That's what we need to do on our next podcast. Tell you exactly what we've been doing. All right. So that's it.
Absolutely. And again, hit that subscription button so you can tune into everything that it is that we're doing. And we do have a lot going on. Just one last thing before we close, we got a short film that's going to be coming out soon. We're doing, there's a big Juneteenth festival that we are part of in Indianapolis. Shout out to Juneteenth, Indianapolis, James Webb. And we also are doing something really, really amazing with James Webb. We're taking 15 kids from Indianapolis to Atlanta to InvestFest. So that's coming up as well. And like Martin said, we will keep you guys posted, but tune in, hit that subscription button, tell a friend, support what it is that we do. And by subscribing, as you guys know, it's free. And we love y'all.
We love y'all. We went a little bit too long this one, but we love y'all. Blessings.
No such thing. Peace.
Maya Angelou said, if you're going to live, leave a legacy. Make a mark on the world that can't be erased. I'm Martin. This is Donald and Curtis. We're native New Yorkers. Welcome to Season 3 of the Road to Legacy podcast.
Together, Martin and I have worked in hospitality for about almost 40 years, and we've been truly blessed to meet people from all walks of life. And in those conversations, it led us to question, what is legacy? What is the driving force that motivates people to do what it is that they do? That passion led us to create the Road to Legacy podcast.
And hey, I'm Curtis, the newest passenger on this Road to Legacy podcast, a student, lover of history, and I'm just super enthused, man, to be along for the ride with my brothers, discussing, debating life, politics, and race, and everything in between. Just hope you come and join us on this quest of seeking, learning, and above all, leaving a legacy. Grace and peace from the Road to Legacy.